Good morning. I'm going to try a video for this Chapter 14, Performance Management. What they have us to do in this first lab is to set the memory storage areas to 0. So after you run the first lab in Chapter 14, it tells us that it's critical, and it also there's lots of warnings in this chapter not to do what it tells us to do in the lab. But the lab, once you run 14.1, we set these all to 0, and once you do that, you can't just go back in. So when you run those alter statements, you set them to 0. You see the size to 0. And you actually have to stop and restart the database to be able to use the SQL Plus again. So when you set that target to 0, you change it. Now, in Chapter 9, version 9, Oracle version 9, added the automatic memory management for the PGA. Version 10 added automatic memory for the SGA, and I just sent it to my lab, or I would show you. I may have to sign back in before I get through with this. So 11G then, you manage both the PGA and the SGA together. I didn't. Just using my lab. So the first lab is to set the parameters of memory, of the different memory areas. Then the second objective is to use the advisor, and that's pretty straightforward, actually. Then in the lab 14.2, we're looking at the breakdown of memory in those 5 areas that we set it to 0, and looking at the graph. And it tells you right there that you can use the graph itself to increase the memory, decrease it, or whatever. And I actually couldn't get that to work. Now, I don't know why, but I couldn't. The max size is grayed out when you enter just as system, but when you go in as system, this user with system DBA control, then you can set it. Now, what I did, I guess I just took the short way out. What I did was I disabled this in both the SGA and the PGA. When I enabled it back, then my automatic memory was put back into place. So that's lab 2. And then in 14.3, you're troubleshooting invalid or unstable objects, and those objects being procedures, functions, triggers, packages, and object types. The object types that we changed were the indexes. Let me see. We created a table first based on another table. We created an index, a view, a procedure, and then inserted values in. Okay, so that's number 3 right there. It looks kind of funny because it's so small, but you can see where I created the procedure. I tried that system, that first one, to create the index lots of different ways, because I thought we were supposed to put something, a user instead of just the username in those parentheses. Then when I finally put the word username in the parentheses, it created the index. Then the procedure, and this one is showing you when you do that makes them unstable or invalid. It says that they were there. They're just invalid. And then number 10, 9, 10, and 11, really, when you go back and fix that, then you can execute that valid P, alter the table to add a date. The column that we had dropped, and then select it, and it shows you all of the ones from that valid. I guess that's a user or a table that is generated automatically to keep up with all of the valid objects. Because when you look down through there, you see them. You know, it may not. That's a view, and not the V stands for view. So maybe only the ones with views. So that's chapter 14. Didn't have everything worked in chapter 14 just exactly as it should have. So rather than just go through it, you can read. I've tried to do that in class to create a handout, and I do actually have a handout started. Sorry, I didn't still have it open. I do have a handout started, but I haven't had time to finish it this week. My handout that I put in Blackboard, what that does is that helps me. I've always been the kind of person that likes to really read the chapters and then create myself an outline. And that's what I did. Let's see. That's why I do it. So chapter 14, I don't actually have the handout that I usually do up there, but I have had it started. I'll just have to see how my time goes. Take that one off. And now you have my labs to look at. So thank you, and have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday.